Welcome to my channel. A viral video has sparked one of the biggest debates about Jamaicans' identity in memory. A Chinese Jamaican who made two controversial claims that the Jamaican accent is more influenced by Irish ancestry than African roots, and that if you don't hold a Jamaican passport, you shouldn't call yourself Jamaican. Those comments have divided opinions across social media. Some agree with her perspective, while others believe her statement ignore Jamaican history and exclude millions of people who proudly identify with the island. In today's video, we are breaking down the controversy, looking at the historical extent, context, exploring the passport debate, and discussing what it really means to be Jamaicans in a nation built on the motto, out of many, one people. If you enjoyed thoughtful discussion, honest reaction, and conversation about culture and current event, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notification. Now, let's get into it.
Ministry of Education, I have a bone to pick with you. Why are so many Jamaicans ignorant of their own history? Why so much dunce people in my comment section? Oh my God, people, stop it. The Jamaican accent is not an African dialect. The Jamaican accent, like everything associated with modern Jamaican heritage, is in fact the byproduct of the cultural melting pot that our motto embraces. In fact, in terms of cadence, it's most similar to an Irish accent.
I've been shook enough now, to be honest, since the racing is a bit tired now and the legs are like jelly, but yeah, I suppose we did a bit of celebrating and did the podium thing and got to put on the podium pants as well.
You see, as early as 1656, Oliver Cromwell ordered 2,000 Irish children to be taken to Jamaica and sold to English settlers. The extent of Irish immigration to Jamaica was so prolific in the centuries to follow that 25% of Jamaican citizens can claim Irish ancestry. And this includes Bob Marley and Marcus Garvey. So if you never know, now you know. Again, out of many, one people. My fellow Jamaicans, me come for drink milk, but be there cocoa. It is abundantly clear to me that there are people who live foreign and identify as Jamaicans, but you don't have one of these. And while you're entitled to your opinion, one is a set of rascal dunce. So let me set the record straight. Number one, Jamaica is not an African nation. It's not a black country. We identify as an ethnically diverse society. People, please just stop it. Out of many, one people, Jamaicans. We do not hyphenate and we do not encourage separation by race. Number two, this one's mine. This is my granny own. This one is my mom's. And this is grandpa. Yeah, it's hardcover. Grandpa died a long time ago. If you are planning a trip to Jamaica and you don't own one of these, you're going to have to book a return flight from where you came. These are the rules. I'm just laying it down for you. If you go to Jamaica and you don't have one of these, immigration will stamp your passport and give you a set amount of time that you're allowed to stay in Jamaica. And if you overstay your welcome, we put you back on a plane and we send you back. You, not me. You back to the country for which you came. There are so many Jamaicans ignorant of their own history.
Why do people from other races always want to be the historian for black people? Mama, you hear me? Leave Jamaican black people history alone. Tell us about your Chinese history in Jamaica. See me? Tell us why your family left your massive country of 3.7 million square miles to come live in a country that is just over 4,000 square miles, to set up shop in poor communities to live off of black people. Tell us why. Give us the blood-clad history on that. You all have made your riches and your wealth from these poor black people. No, Tell me something good that you've given back to these poor black people. Tell me something great that you've done for these poor communities. You've been in Jamaica for centuries, living off poor black people. Without black people, you would be nothing. Some of these stupid poor people neglect buying from their own people just to come and support you and your family at your store. Yet still, most of you don't have a black friend. See me? The most black people you guys speak to are the ones that you employ. And you watch them like a hawk to see if they're gonna steal from you. You will never see Mr. Chin and his family at any community functions. See me? Because them not deal with black people. You see me? You will never see Mr. Chin's son chilling out at a dance with him black friends, because him not have black friends. You'll never see Mr. Chin's daughter at a party with her black friends, because she not keep black friends. You understand? So much for this blood-clad idiot matter out of many one bomber-clad people. No, part of the Chinese culture and history is that they eat dogs, they eat cats, they eat worms, they eat roaches, and they eat lizards. I remember growing up in Kingston. When black people dogs would come up missing, they would blame the Chinese. See? And they would tell us not to go buy lunch from the Chinese restaurants because the Chinese put dog meat in their patties. You see me? I remember seeing a picture in the newspaper that was taken at the back of a Chinese restaurant, and it had dog parts on it.
A number of people have tagged me in a video with this woman talking about, you know, Jamaicans, they are foreign attack, this and that, and if you don't have a Jamaican passport, you are not Jamaican. Listen, I'm gonna do an in-depth video on my YouTube channel, but let me just say this for now. A whole lot of y'all were in my comments defending this woman when she said we are a bunch of dunce. Like on love to do with light bright people, a bunch of run come to come rescue her because she is only talking about the accent. It was never about the accent, and with every other video she's making it very clear, it's not about the accent. It's always been about erasing our African identity, because if we cling to our African identity, then we disrupt this picture of the racial harmony that they want to create. And without this picture of the racial harmony, then they feel that their positions of power at the top of the social hierarchy is threatened. So now she feels emboldened to tell y'all who is Jamaican and who isn't. I'm not gonna stitch any more of that content or say anything more about it, because it looks like she's posting through other people, and I personally want to address her directly. So I'm not gonna stitch any more of that content, because if she's hiding her identity, then you can't confront her. So it's a waste of time. She's just seeking attention. Anyway, in the same way, I will not be schooled about what my language is or what my identity is. I'm not going to be schooled by any light bright about who I am or whether or not I'm Jamaican. Y'all are going to have to sit with the fact that someone whose ancestors came to Jamaica for economic benefit is able to tell the descendants of the people whose blood was shed for the freedom of this country that they are not Jamaicans.
So there's a video going around of what appears to be a Chinese Jamaican woman really coming for black African people from Jamaica, particularly those of us who live foreign, yeah, in relation to issues of blackness, Africanness, and the possession of a passport or lack thereof. People are sending me this video and ask me what I have to say about it. And the reality is, I have nothing to say to she. Any non-African person from Jamaica or anywhere else in the world that has a problem with Africans from Jamaica, yard or foreign, asserting our Africanness and our blackness, that a feeding problem. This is not something that we should feel the need to justify, apologize for, or even explain, especially when you consider the colonial and neo-colonial experience of African Jamaicans and how that results in the migration of African Jamaicans, as well as the extent to which the colonizer attempted to sever us from a sense of heritage and a sense of culture. That alone tell you everything what you need to know about the mentality of the smaddy will make that the video there. So I have nothing more to say about that except to affirm the teachings of Marcus Mosiah Garvey when Africans of his time were being challenged in relation to our affirmation and assertion of racial and cultural pride. Let contrary sentiments and cross opinions go to the winds. We are entitled to our own opinions and not obligated or bound by the opinions of others. Oh. Having said that, I was listening to Running African, hosted by Sister Kabo Ma'at Keru Wadeya, and she featured a story on some events and conversations that were taking place in Jamaica on this issue. Take a listen.
You notice that there's a big conversation going on here in Jamaica right now about Mark Golding and whether or not he's black or white. And you heard a response where, you know, we have all kinds of people, because out of the motto is out of many one. So this is what we're hearing now, right? That, oh, we have Chinese Jamaican, we have Indian Jamaican, and so on. And the person who was speaking, I think it might have been Mr. Morgan himself, you know, called out every other race Jamaican apart from African Jamaican. That in itself was telling.
So it does seem, yes, that the African Jamaicans' assertion and affirmation of our Africanness does seem to make some people very, very uncomfortable, and we should be aware of this and what agenda it serves. But beyond that, make we assert with Africanness and with blackness without fear or favor, and not make nobody make you feel shame or make you feel like you do them something wrong when you assert your blackness and your Africanness. Our heritage and our culture cannot be bound by a passport and cannot be dictated to us by anybody other than ourselves if we are guided by the principle of self-determination.
So, number one, Jamaica is not an African nation. It's not a black country. We identify as an ethnically diverse society. People, please just stop it. Out of many, one people, Jamaicans. We do not hyphenate and we do not encourage separation by race. Number two, this one's mine.
You see, one thing about history that you have to know, you always have to open your mind to learn new things that you don't know, because you meet people that will come with their own versions of the history. However, when it gets to a certain level, you will notice that, Charlie, this thing is getting a little bit biased. And with this particular video, for instance, I was with this woman, but then I saw another video where she was being a little bit biased, where she was talking about the accent of the Jamaicans. The way she framed the whole thing, she made it look like it was mainly influenced by the Irish people and a little bit of the Asians, you understand me, without the Africans. And I mean, we all know the genesis of the whole patois. It's true, Jamaica is a collection of different cultures, of different people. But when you look at the population, nobody should tell you that Africans were dominant, apart from the original inhabitants of the land, the Red Ware people, who are the ancestors of the Tainos. Over 900,000 people were brought to this place, most popularly West Africa. The only non-African group of people that dominated the area, apart from the Africans, were the Irish people, who were brought in the 1600s by the British people after they conquered their land. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ireland was the first country to be colonized by the British, even before coming to Africa. But then, unlike the Africans, they came as indentured servants. They signed contracts to work in Jamaica, and that is where they formed what is called the Hiberno English, which is what they brought to Jamaica. Due to proximity and the way they were working with them on the plantation, they taught the West African people who were speaking the Pidgin and the Creole this type of English. This is what they mixed together and then came up with the patois. Now, these Chinese and the Indian people, they came around 1854 after the abolition of the slave trade in 1834, when most of the black people stopped working on the plantation. These Asians were brought to come and replace them, so they also came in as indentured servants. They contributed with their food, the Chinese cuisine and all of that, and then the music. You can't talk about reggae and ska without people like Byron Lee. Even though the rhythm and the pattern came from Africa, the instruments and the studio that they recorded came from these people, the Chinese people. But don't make it look like you played a huge role than anybody. You people are like 1.2.
So you think you're English? You think you're Anglo-Saxon? I wish some of you would go to England and say some of these things to these white people, because they'll quickly put you in your place and tell you to go back to Africa. You are the only ones who don't know where you're from, and it's really sad. Yes, you speak Patois. What do you think Patois is made up of? A lot of it is African words. And if you really want to know what tribes we came from, it's so easy. Just look at the language that we speak, which is Patois. A lot of the words are from the Ashanti tribe. I'm just surprised that a lot of Jamaicans don't know these things. You know, it's basic history, really. But it just shows you how much the education system has failed us, because we don't know ourselves. Most Jamaicans struggle with English. In fact, not just Jamaicans, most black people in the West who speak the language of their colonizers struggle with the language. That's why you end up with Creole and Patois. We have to mix up the African in there to express ourselves. English is not ours. It belongs to another group of people. Languages are born out of a culture. English didn't come from us. There are so many simple things that tell us who we are. There's so much African retention around us, including the fact that we speak Patois. It's not rocket science, and it's just shameful to see this display of ignorance on social media. Tired of this narrative. It is simply not true, and I don't know where it started. I don't know who is trying to create this propaganda that Africans don't accept us in the diaspora. It is not true. A great majority of them love us and embrace us and want us to come over there and connect with them. Sure, you have a few that may be saying, oh, you know, don't come over here, but I mean, it's one and two, and most of them are just not in their right minds. Just like you have piece of shit Jamaicans, but I'm not going around and saying, oh, Jamaica is hell because you have a few people who aren't very nice. Check the comment section of the last video that I posted. It is full of comments from the continent, all over the continent. Even on Instagram, I have 50,000 followers on Instagram. About 90% of them are Africans. Africans love us, especially Jamaicans. Okay, maybe they don't like Black Americans so much, right? And you can understand, you know, I love my Black American brothers and sisters, but y'all are hard to deal with sometimes, especially when you come to other places where other African people are. You know, you come with your entitlement, you come with your attitude, you come with your complaining. Like, it's very difficult to deal with y'all because you're American, you know, and that's just the truth. But we love in the same way, you know, but it's not just hard to deal with. But Africans love Jamaicans. They love Jamaicans. Ghana, they act just like us. They actually act like us. That's how much they love us. Come on. And the rest of Ethiopia.
A viral video has ignited one of the biggest debates about Jamaicans' identity in recent memory. A Chinese Jamaican woman made two bold claims. First, that the Jamaican's accent is more Irish than African. And second, that if you don't have a Jamaican passport, you shouldn't call yourself Jamaican. The first statement that caught everyone's attention was the claim that the Jamaican's accent is primarily influenced by Irish ancestry rather than African roots. Now, it is true that history tells us the Irish were present in Jamaica during the colonial era, and like many cultures, they left some influences behind. But to suggest that the Jamaican way of speaking is mainly Irish ignores a much larger historical reality. Modern Jamaican speech developed through centuries of interaction between enslaved Africans, English colonialists, and other communities. The result was unique language and culture shaped by many influences. But Africans' tradition played a central role in the development. Music, food, religion, storytelling, and everyday expression all carries deep African roots. That's not opinion, it's part of Jamaicans' documented history. Many people felt the viral comment minimized those contributions, and that's why the reaction has been so emotional. Then came the second claim that only people with their Jamaican passport should identify as Jamaicans. This is where the debates become even more complicated. Millions of Jamaicans live outside the island. Some were born to overseas Jamaicans' parents. Others left decades ago but still celebrate Jamaican's culture every day. They cook Jamaican food, speak Patois, support Jamaican athletics, and proudly pass their heritage on their children. Does living abroad suddenly erase that identity? Many would say absolutely not. Citizenship and cultural identity are related, but they aren't always the same thing. A passport is a legal document. Heritage, family, history, and cultural connection are much deeper than paperwork. For many in the Jamaicans diaspora, being Jamaican isn't just about where they live, it's about who they are. Another issue is raised by the critics is what they describe as lingering colonial mindset. They argue that whenever European influences is emphasized while Africans' contributions are pushed into the background, it risks rewriting history. At the same time, Jamaica has always celebrated diversity. The national motto, out of many, one people, reflected the contribution of African, European, Chinese, and Indians, Syrians, Lebanese, and many others who helped shape the nation. Recognizing one group's importance doesn't require diminishing another's. The beauty of Jamaican is that its identity was built from many cultures coming together while acknowledging the history experiences that shaped the majority of its people. At the end of the day, conversation like this reminds us that the identity is deeply personal. Jamaican story is rich, complex, and multicultural, but it's also impossible to tell that story without recognizing the enormous African heritage has played in shaping the country's language, culture, resilience, and global influence. Respecting Jamaicans' diversity should never mean erasing any part of its history. What do you think? Does a passport determine whether someone is Jamaican, or is heritage and culture just as important? Let us know your thoughts in the comment below. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.